Welcome to the Steve Curcio podcast, the show for men who refuse to settle. Here we forge elite bodies, unshakable minds, and bulletproof lives. I'm Steven Curcio, bodybuilder, coach, and founder of Humbled Fitness. I help career-driven men over 30 reclaim their edge, build muscle naturally, and rise to a higher standard in every area of life. This isn't motivation, it's mission. This isn't therapy, it's transformation. So if you're done playing small, get ready to level up. Be humble, be bold, be humbled. Let's get into it. You've built success, you've tasted strength, but now it's time to evolve. Not just into something better, but into something more dangerous. Welcome to the final episode of this series, going into our business's code of conduct. This isn't a recap, it's a commission. And I'm commissioning you to embody this code for life. Because if you've made it this far, you're not just interested in habits, routines, or macros. You want something deeper. You want to become the kind of man the world feels when he walks in the room. Embody this code. So let's finish this series the only way we should. Full throttle. So let's set the record straight. Being a high performer, that's entry level. That just means you're efficient, polished, productive. But a dangerous man? Those guys are built different. They don't just do more. They become it. They become more. They carry physical power by banging and clanging the weights. Mental clarity by reducing the noise and distractions of TV, video games, and political mumbo-jumbo. They develop emotional control by cutting off the toxic relationships and knowing who the heck they are. Spiritual depth. We gain this by knowing who we are in Christ Jesus. I said it. Spending time with Him on the daily. Relational integrity. By picking and choosing who we keep as friends and keeping our promises to those around us. And ruthless discipline. You do what you say, regardless of how you feel. They don't just check boxes. They walk into every situation with presence, power, confidence, and clarity. And the reason most men never become dangerous? I'm glad you asked. They might be addicted to performance, but allergic to real transformation. Let's stack it all together now. This is our full code of conduct. 1. Massive action takers. You move. Now. No waiting, no overthinking, you act. 2. Extreme ownership. You've heard this again and again from Jocko Willink. Everything in your world is your responsibility, and that's your power, which should give you freedom. 3. Relentless. You should find your pace and you never ever freaking stop. You keep going, and once you're consistent with your pace, you add another layer of intensity and you keep going. That is being relentless. 4. Victors over victims. You don't complain, you conquer. You don't get bitter and go, woe is me. No, you get better. 5. Being coachable. You stay humble, hungry, and open, always. You don't react to criticism. You respond and implement. This code isn't about becoming a robot. It's about becoming forged, body, mind, and mission into a man who is unshakable. And when you live by this code, you don't just get lean, you become lethal. You don't just become successful, you dominate. You don't just lead, you transform every space in your life. This is the next evolution. For you, for your wife, for your kids, for your whole family. Make no mistake, the world does not want you to be dangerous. The people in power who poison your water, your food, your clothes, and the air you breathe, and even your entertainment, they want you distracted, docile, spiritually dull, emotionally reactive, physically weak. Why? Because a dangerous man is hard to control. A dangerous man protects. A dangerous man leads. A dangerous man builds and resists compromise. He doesn't follow trends, he creates them. He doesn't chase validation. He embodies standards, timeless standards. And if you don't intentionally become that man, you'll be passively shaped by a culture that turns warriors into doom scrollers, fighters into followers, builders into binge watchers. Not here, not you guys. You've either been this man or you know him. He's a guy who looks successful from the outside. He has a decent home, a decent income, the nice watch, maybe even a decent squat and a protein shake habit he can't seem to shake. But internally, he's reactive. He has no spiritual spine. His marriage is running on fumes. His fitness has plateaued. His standards have been replaced with survival mode. He's not dangerous. He's just busy. But then something happens. He gets fed up. He looks into the mirror and sees the gap between who he is and who he is called to be. And he stops outsourcing responsibility and he starts tracking, again, his macros, and not just his macros, his actions. He moves with urgency. He shows up with clarity. He becomes coachable. He learns, even when it stings. He starts praying again, lifting like it matters, leading himself again to a better tomorrow. And the people around him, they notice. Why? Because real leadership is simply the leading of oneself well first, and then learning how to lead others after. That's management. That's leadership. The guy who makes this shift, he didn't just become a better version of himself. He became the real version of himself. That's what this code builds. So here's your final challenge. Follow this code. It's yours now. And codes, they're for warriors. Today, write yours. What will you no longer tolerate from yourself? What non-negotiables will you honor even when no one's watching? What identity are you willing to protect at all costs? Then do something most men will never. Live it out loud with fire, with focus, with force. Because your code isn't a motto, it's a mirror. And a man with a mirror doesn't lie to himself. He levels up every day. You've got the map, you've got the mission. Now it's time to move. Train with intent, speak with clarity, lead with passion, protect with strength, and live with excellence. Not as an ideal, but as your baseline. Be the man your family respects. Be the man your enemies fear. Be the man your younger self would be proud of. Until next time, be humble, be bold, be humbled. If you want a body that commands respect, a mind that doesn't fold, and a legacy your family can feel, start living like the man you were born to be. No more waiting, no more hiding. Take action, lead the way, and remember, be humble, be bold, be humbled. I'll see you in the next one.